Welcome back to NSB Custom Cars. On this episode, we're going to be tearing into the dirt. So after last weekend when we went to the racetrack, we were having some problems with it, and come to find out we don't think it's in the transmission. We're thinking it's just the clutch in the car, maybe even a throwout bearing problem. We're going to pull the motor out and we're going to change all this out. We got a timer on top of the car, so we're going to kind of mimic if we were at the track a little bit. The only difference, I am on a lift here. I am going to use it. We would be using a floor jack at the track, jacking it, put it on jack stand. That's the only difference. But time's fixing to start, probably about right now.
Care like this.
All right, ready?
Care that's strong,
Yeah.
fast, and safe. That's care without limits.
$56.56. A little less than an hour.
So now that we got the motor out of the car, we've already took the old clutch flywheel setup off, and we put our new one on. Well, when I say new one, the one that we took off was pretty much new. It's just that we've got two setups, and both of them are identical the same. And the reason we have two is because, you know, when you start launching these at the drag strip, you're going to burn the clutch up eventually, and you have to replace them. So we wanted an extra one so we don't have no downtime, because when you tear it up, or let's say you burn the clutch out, the plates or whatever, you have to take this assembly off, you send it back to the company, and they tear it apart and they rebuild it and send it back. This particular setup with the flywheel, everything comes with everything other than the throwout bearing. We had to buy the throwout bearing separately. It's almost right at a $2,000 setup. So when you take this off and you send it back to them and they rebuild it, it's like $500 each time they rebuild it. So, you know, it's a $1,500. So when you burn one up, you ain't got to turn around and pay all that money out. So this is what the new one looks like. As you see all these little white rings, this is where you put an Allen wrench in here, a T-handle, and this increases the pressure of how much pressure that goes on it. And we had these turned in around 7 turns. We did a math, you know, on the way to the car, what we wanted to launch at. Evidently, we wasn't in far enough to give it enough pressure, because it wasn't turning the tires over, and it was letting the clutch slip some. But this clutch is designed, once it starts to get hot, it grabs and bites more. So you have to have the pressure on it. Plus, our launch, the way it launches, and when the clutch comes in, we were running into, the motor was peaking out at full RPM before the clutch was completely grabbing, because when you let go of the button, it's like the electric for the motor to release is instantaneously. The throwout bearing has to push hydraulic back. It's, you know, some milliseconds slower. So the motor was going past its peak where it needed to go. It was peaking out. So we're going to get all that figured out hopefully on this clutch. We got the other one over here in the box. Let me bring you over here and show you. The one that we're sending back, we kind of pretty much annihilated it. As you can see, that's a lot of clutch dust. We kind of ate this clutch up a little bit. But I have confidence in them that this probably come back look just like that one when we get it back. They probably go through the whole thing. I don't know. I'll show y'all when we get it back of what kind of job they did on redoing this. But so now we're at the point, you know, we got to take this motor and we're going to have to get it stuck back in the car. You know, you just seen us pulling it out. I'm not that big of a hurry to go back in. Right here's the car up in the air. I've got the front end laying right here, so I'm going to have to move this front end out, back outside for just a little bit so I can lower the car down and get it put back in. But we're not going to be no big hurry of going back in. I'm going to take my time. It's not like we're at the track racing time here to get it back together. But we're going to get it back in. Something else I wanted to show you. You know, a lot of people, you know, put motors in and out. You know, they have cherry picker, which is a pretty big conglomerate of steel. They do fold up. They will go in a corner. But I'm pretty tight here. So I built this when all this was over underneath my carport before I built my garage. Just a up over, goes on my lift. I've had this for a long time. I had it in another shop, the house in Tennessee. I used it, but I fixed this all up so it's a lot easier just to move this little piece. It'll sit in the corner, take up a lot less room, and it works. This lift does a good job. As you see, it took just what, a couple minutes. It slid right in. My scatter shield turned, fell off the pins, so the pins wouldn't go in. But it ain't really hard. You know, all I got is 2 bolts, one here, one on that side, one on that side. Bolt the motor in, and it's in. So I got the 4 front bolts on the motor plate put in. Now I just got to put all the bolts in through the bell housing into the motor. What's cool about that, you know, we take the tunnel out of the car. It's already out, so I just go on the inside. It's right there. It's easy to get to. Here, let me show you. So as you can see, we have the tunnel out of the car. Now I can just come in here, all my bolts, go right on around, put them right in. Makes it a whole lot easier. And I've got all these bolted in with Zeus fittings, or not Zeus fittings, but weld nuts that go in to it's like a pop rivet. You put the nut in there and you swell it, and it stays in that aluminum. So now it's threaded. So all I gotta do is put it in there, pop bolts in, it goes right in. So it comes in and out really easy. So let me get it bolted up. can see, I just put all 4 bolts in, tightened down in a matter of seconds. What didn't take no time. All I gotta do is tighten these 4 front bolts up. And then I gotta put all my scatter shield bolts on, and I'll raise the car up for that, but I gotta put everything back in underneath the car, so. All right, we got everything back in, everything but the front end on, everything plugged in. Don't see no fuel leaks. That's the way they work. Take them out, put them back in, it should fire right back up. You're ready to go race again. If we'd have been at the track and had to do all that, I'm saying within 2.5 hours, we could have had that out back in with just 2 people. If we had 3, it would go quicker. It just depends on how quick the turnaround is, how big the field is. You could almost make that in between race. Unless you're getting down to the very last couple cars, then you're just screwed because you ain't gonna make it that fast. So that's pretty much taking the motor out, putting the clutch in, putting the motor back in. Pretty quick turnaround. So it's not going to be a very long video or anything. But hopefully next weekend, if the weather holds out, we may have something special coming. So stay tuned for our next video. And so till next time, we'll see you.